Alright, so here we are, sitting in an E36 BMW M3. Now I know we've filmed a lot of big turbo cars on the channel before, most of which were Japanese. This one's a little different. This is my first time ever behind the wheel of an M car. See how it compares, shall we? So the BMW M3. Generally considered a pretty docile car at low speeds, good daily driver, and then when you punch it, gives you a good kick, enough to keep you excited and engaged, correct? Well, this BMW M3 of the E36 variety is just slightly different. It has a 62mm turbo on it that puts down just under 600 out back to the rear wheels. Let's try it out. First impressions, very good. In fact, this is actually my very first time driving an M car. First impressions, very good. Throttle's really heavy, shifter's incredibly notchy. Steering's really good. It's on the light side, but it's, super direct. Can't ask for much more. So the sound coming from this engine is miles different than anything I've ever driven before. It is an inline six, similar to an R32 GTR or an R34 or Supra, something like that, but it's just got a way different vibe about it. Again, it's slightly bigger than those engines, so when you put a turbo on it, you automatically from the factory, you've got that low end torque to work with, right? So you're not really sacrificing drivability as much as you would think.
Hi, my name is Avi, and this is my 97 Turbo M3. I've had the car for around 4 to 5 years now. I bought it dead stock from a dealer out in Vancouver, and pretty much it's gone from stock NA, fun car with headers and all the NA mods you could do to what it is now, and which is pretty much a fully built track machine. I've wanted to turbo the car since I bought it. I bought it for that reason. There's another local guy that has the car. I've always wanted to do the build, but 3 years ago, I let my brother drive the car, and we ended up blowing the engine. I'm not sure what happens and whatever it was, and pretty much that started the turbo addiction, and pulled the motor out, started to build it, and I ended up here. To turbo this car isn't as bad as it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. There's a lot more aftermarket support nowadays. There's more tuners and everything else. Still, compared to a Supra, you would consider this a lot harder. There's not as many choices for manifolds, piping, and whatever else. Most of that stuff is custom. Big part about these cars is the tune, and most of the guys now, we do a stock DME tune, so it runs on a factory DME, everything works, and we have a remote tuner. My guy is out in New York, and he flash tunes it out of New York and sends me the tune. I load it up and it's good to go. It's got a fully built motor. I'm running a twin scroll custom turbo manifold, feeding into a Borg Warner 362 with a billet Batmo wheel, 3.5-inch exhaust all the way back, and it has a bigger trans out of a newer Gen M3, which is a 6-speed, and then it has a built diff, single drive shaft. All the suspension's been done, so there's pretty much not a single thing I haven't touched on this car.
So the reason we didn't completely lose control there in second gear is for a couple of reasons. First off is the amazing diff that Avi has got back there. Second of all is because this car has an aftermarket traction control system, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a first here on Roads and Traveled, and that thing works great. I've said this before and I'll say it again on the channel, anything more than like kind of 600-700 at the wheels is a little bit insane for the street unless you have all-wheel drive. But with a traction control set like this, you can set it to 5% slip, 20% slip, or just turn it off completely, so you've got free reign in that aspect, and you can make the car do whatever it is that you want it to do. So boost, it builds incredibly quick. That's one thing that I've noticed about this car right off the bat. The boost just builds incredibly quick. It's kind of just below 4,000 RPM. You start really getting sucked back into your seat, but from 0 to full boost, there's really no weight. It just kind of just throws you back and keeps you there with the help of that traction control system that I was mentioning earlier. Just an awesome touch, something I really wish a lot of these cars had. to kind of prevent you from spinning the tires more than you would want, and actually just gripping and using the car for what it's meant to be used for. I mean, in a rear-wheel drive chassis like this, you would never expect it to hook up like it did. The funny thing is though, like a lot of these cars that we drive on the channel, I mean, they've got a lot to them that makes them feel like a race car, but I think a V has gone very far in terms of just the experience of the car, but still keeping it fine as a daily driver. I mean, the seats are fixed back seats, which inherently just makes them kind of unpractical, but they're in a great position. He's done his research, he's put in the time into making sure it's all gonna work for him, which it does. And everything's just kind of simple, laid out really nicely. When you're cruising, the car's not loud at all.
Okay, so daily driving this car, since it's an M3, most of the chassis issues are pretty much fixed. It's due to the solid bushings and stuff I have all in the rear, it does have a lot more road noise than you would expect out of a factory car. But it's, once you get used to it, I mean, you drive it a couple days, it runs like a regular car. It starts up fine, there's no big deal. Obviously with a turbo car, you're gonna have little issues. This is a pretty much fresh build, and you stumble across little issues that you've neglected or you thought would work when you did the build, and it's kind of failing. So a couple of things I've had a problem with is I used quick connect vacuum hoses, and at 15 pounds they like to pop off, so I got to start replacing all of those with just straight rubber lines because it just works better. So my current setup is 15 pounds, which is my wastegate spring. I dynoed it on a dyno jet a couple weeks ago, and it made 585 at the rear tire. That's just straight 94, no meth, right? And then in a couple weeks I'm gonna have my tuner send me a reflash. Probably gonna run a 24, 25 PSI tune with meth, and I'm hoping to hit the 750 wheel mark, and that should just about max out this turbo. As for the footwork of the car, I got a set of Apex 18 by 9.5 all around, running Bridgestone Potenza RE11 265s for the square setup. And suspension wise, I got AST 4200 coilovers. It's got all the adjustable links you can get for this car. And then brakes wise, the front's got an AP Racing 6-piston big brake kit, 355mm, and the rear is just a factory M3 kit. Okay, so on a full gear boot, this car is an animal. As soon as you hit over 3,500, boost kicks on. I got open wastegate, so it's really loud, and it hits all your senses at once. Your hearing, it pushes you back in the seat. It's a good experience. It's fun, and you know what? It leaves you wanting more.
Now brakes too, 6-piston brakes up front with competition pads, and I mean, the stopping power is really pretty crazy when you come to think of it. A lot of people won't do brakes, but a full build like this is really what you want to do, especially with a chassis known for handling. You want to make sure it's dialed in for what you're going to be using it for. It doesn't stop pulling again. Holy shit. Okay, we're gonna try out those brakes again. Wow, that's an incredible feeling. That's the quickest I've ever come to a stop, I think. Okay, we're gonna try that again. We'll get up to, again, I can't really tell you the speeds we're going, but we'll stomp on the brakes. Holy shit. Okay, if you're gonna do a build like this, please buy yourself some brakes. That just inspires so much confidence. Man, that's crazy. I'll give it this, compared to like the RB26 or the 2JZ, this M motor in here, it's got some bass to it. It's got a lot more bass. It's got a deeper growl to it. It's just a lot more angry too. It's just a crazy experience. This car is really fast, really scary.
If money wasn't an issue, I'd build this I'd go more towards the track route now that I have the power. I'm pretty much there. Most things left obviously is that there's always better suspension components that you can buy with money, right? Better brakes, bigger brake kit all around, better tires. and maybe, you know what, a wide body just so I can fit more rubber in it, because the biggest pet peeve of this car probably that I have is that you can't fit enough rubber in the back, and with 600 wheels, it likes to spin. Don't rush into your purchases, the number one. Just because it looks good on the outside, just make sure. These cars tend to rust in certain places, so the factory paint hides it pretty well. So just keep on the lookout. And then if you're buying a non-M versus the M3, the non-Ms have a subframe issue. So if the car's been driven really, really rough, the rear subframe mounts will tear out. So that's one thing to kind of keep track of. If you're driving it and you hear clunks and whatnot, stay away from the car, because most likely it's rusted from the subframe below, and you're gonna have to pull the whole subframe and weld it. And by the time you do that, it's cheaper just to buy a new car.
Again, those brakes just really, it's really the cherry on top, to be honest. I mean, the car pulls almost to 7,000 RPM and the power just steadily increases until then, but when you stomp on the brakes, it just puts everything in perspective, right? I mean, you stomp down hard on the brakes, you'll slow down for a few seconds, then you'll look down and you're still going an incredible speed, right? Whoa, a little squirrely there. Now with 20% slip, it's giving me a lot of wiggle room to play with. Nice and quick boost. Wow. Stable too, holy crap. Wow, that sound, it's leaving me breathless. This car is fantastic. Great car. For a first M car experience, I honestly couldn't have asked for anything more. Thank you so much, Aviv, for letting me drive your car. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name's Marcus. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're putting out videos every Tuesday and Thursday, so we'll see you next time.